Every time you swipe through a 10-second video, you are physically training your brain to lose its capacity for deep, sustained thought. For decades, the scientific consensus held that the adult brain was fixed in place, as rigid as a block of concrete. But we now know the brain remains highly moldable well into old age. This lifelong ability to reshape physical neural pathways is called neuroplasticity. Every thought you think and action you take acts like a stream of water carving a channel into a hillside. However, neuroplasticity is a blind biological mechanism. It doesn't distinguish between the focus required to learn an instrument and the distraction inherent in a social media feed. Because the brain adapts to whatever environment we provide, consistent passive consumption becomes a physical instruction to prioritize short-term stimulation over long-term concentration. Our modern world provides a state of sensory gluttony, a constant stream of effortless rewards that require no mental heavy lifting to acquire. To conserve energy, the brain operates on a use-it-or-lose-it principle. It identifies neural circuits that aren't being challenged and systematically dismantles them. This diagram illustrates the biological cost of that efficiency. When we bypass deep focus for instant gratification, the brain literally prunes away the nucleus basalis, the control center responsible for holding your attention on a single task. By providing zero resistance, our digital habits have created a biological environment where the machinery of focus is treated as surplus tissue and discarded. Children are biological sponges, capable of learning languages and skills through passive exposure. But once you reach your mid-20s, that window of effortless absorption closes. To force an adult brain to rewire itself, you must trigger a specific sequence of internal chemicals that simply do not release during passive observation. The first requirement is absolute, singular alertness. This state signals the brain to release a neuromodulator called acetylcholine. Think of acetylcholine as this mental spotlight. It marks a specific neural pathway as important, flagging the surrounding nervous system to prioritize this information for a structural change. This is why multitasking or glancing at a phone is so destructive. If the spotlight is moving, the brain cannot identify which specific circuit needs to be altered. But focus is only the beginning. You also need friction. That intense frustration when making mistakes is a biological necessity. That struggle triggers norepinephrine. Without this chemical signal of effort, the brain has no reason to commit energy to change. Researchers confirmed this by comparing worker rats who had to dig for their food against trust fund rats who were handed their meals for free. Only the rats that leaned into the physical friction of the maze developed significantly higher levels of neuroplasticity and emotional resilience. The adult brain only rewards struggle. If your practice feels easy, you aren't actually changing anything. It's important to note that the physical rewiring of your neurons doesn't actually happen while you are struggling with the task. Taking a few quiet minutes to reflect immediately after you finish keeps those specific pathways firing, prepping them for the final stage of the process. The actual structural consolidation happens during REM and deep sleep. This is when the brain performs the heavy lifting of turning those fleeting signals into permanent physical architecture. If you don't prioritize rest, you are essentially deleting the neurological progress you worked for during the day. Because neuroplasticity is a blind mechanism, it gets you the freedom to decide which traits you want to strengthen. You aren't permanently stuck with a short attention span, high anxiety, or any other habit that feels fixed. You can continue to wire your brain for distraction through passive consumption, or you can begin to wire it for resilience through active effort. Pick one positive habit and commit to just 10 minutes of deep, distraction-free focus every day for the next week. Lean into the frustration of those first few minutes and protect your sleep. See how quickly your brain moves from struggle to effortless execution. Your mind is clay. It is your responsibility to mold it intentionally before the digital world does it for you.